Okay, I'm going to be a lady and climb the stairs. I saw the guys jump. Hi, my name is Melissa, and really, I was born like this. Okay, let them put on my slide. I was born blank. I didn't have any dreams. I didn't have hopes. As a baby, I know I smiled a lot, and I still have people telling me, oh, we remember you as a baby. Oh, you were so beautiful. Oh, you were inspiring. But as far as I could remember, I was blank. And growing up in the suburban environment of the University of Port Harcourt and having academicians as parents, there was a certain pressure put on you to perform. Now, no, you go back. You have to see me smile, So growing up with academicians as parents, there was a certain pressure on you to perform. I mean, you had to read more, you had to do more, and you would think, okay, that's it. I think he switched the slides. But you would think that with all that, there's a certain amount of purpose that I would have had. So that's me. And if you notice, I'm carrying my dad's wallet. So as a lady, we always know where the money is. But really, you would think that with all that background, in quotes, I'll have a certain drive, a certain level of purpose. But as a child, I kept on wondering, why am I here? What was I called to do? What do I want to become? Because I was enlightened. I had enlightenment all around me. So everyone was like, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor. You had people having ambitions. And really, to me, I said, goodness gracious, where do I fit into all this? And as time went by, as you could see with the one that, we had the adventures, being in that environment, we got into the bush, and like children of these days don't do, we played with sand, we made mud cakes, I ate a bit of it, we cooked vegetables, I was a mother, I was a child in a hut, we built with raffia by our hands and ourselves, and everyone was a child, and even though we were children, we still had ambitions, and suddenly you were forced to dream, you were forced to think 2 years, 3 years, even as a child. And so I was wondering to myself, what do I become? One day I could be imagining myself in a nurse uniform, and the next day I could be imagining myself as an architect. The next day I could be imagining myself as an engineer. But somehow, within all that dreaming and having imaginary friends and companions talking to you every day and telling you can be this, you can be that, I knew I had to be something because everybody around me was going to be something, we thought. And so I went through the ropes, childhood, play, education, formal and informal, and then we had to do NYSC, and you saw that. But now I've gone through all that. I studied geology, but if you ask me, if I had proper guidance in secondary school, if I decided to close my eyes to my friends who were all going to the science classes, I could have been in C, which was social science, because inherent in me was the ability to communicate. Inherent in me was the ability to work with people, was the ability to make friends. Somehow, even when I didn't want to have friends, people were just naturally drawn to me, and I don't know if it was my smile, but somehow I felt that I could do this thing, the people thing, but I said I must do sciences. And so in doing sciences, a part of my creativity was shut off, because I deliberately turned off the tap. Imagine a flowing tap, and this was me as a child. I could bake. We used to wake up by 5 a.m., we baked, we sold different snacks, and I had the baking thing in me. I could sew, I used to cut fabric with my hands and design clothes, and doll babies, we did all that. As you could draw, you could sketch, you could talk, you could play, you could sing. There was so much in you as a child. And now I'm learning that there's actually research that shows, I'm not going to quote anything because I'm not really firm with the facts, but it actually tells you that your nature is submerged when you rub what do you call it? Lotions and jellies and perfumed, whatever, spray perfumes. And there are some naturalistic people that actually frown on all that because they want to keep themselves pure with all the creativity that God has given them. But we didn't know that then, and I don't know if it would have helped. But I got to a stage where I know that I shut down my creativity. Not totally off, but at least I submerged it because I thought I wanted what everybody wanted me to be. So I went into sciences and I eventually graduated as a geologist. And to date, I have not practiced geology. Amen? But I mean, I'm a geologist. I mean, I can always say I know what it means. I can study the maps. I can interpret the maps. I can actually tell you, if you really wake me up in the middle of the night after I've slept well, where the oil is, interpreting the logs and the data. Well, we've done that. We've been there. But I can proudly say today that I am a social entrepreneur. And it did not take me 2 years. It didn't take me 3 years to arrive where I am. And social entrepreneurship, I will explain with the slide that just passed, productivity, is something that everybody needs to know about. It's something that we all need to know about and put into practice. Because what is productivity? Productivity is being able to create goods, create services, and in creating in quality and with speed, you affect people on a large scale. In economics, you sell to make profits. In social entrepreneurship, you do it for social value. Now, in whatever you're doing, it has a good in heart. So you're not doing it because you want to make money out of it or you want to make profit, but because you see a need. You have identified a need in the society that needs to be checked. Now, I put this slide up and you can go to the next one. No offense to our head of our president. And I don't want to use that phrase that is raining now, but you see, this has been on blackberries everywhere, and this is creativity at its very best. We have loads and loads of them. Every day, people are coming up with stuff. I mean, they're creating stuff. And you wonder, where is all this coming from? But imagine, how can we measure the employability of the Nigerian youth? Because right now we have statistics telling us that 23.9% of people in Nigeria do not have jobs. Now, if they don't have jobs and they're unemployed, that's on one side. What about the ones that graduated that are unemployable? They can't spell their names, they can't give you a tangible concept. Tell me, where are you from? I finished school 2 years ago. My mother sent me to, and the person goes on a spiral, and when he finishes, he comes back home and he said, okay, so where are you from? And it's sad because these are people we live around and with every day. So what do we do? What do we do? That's where you come in. That's where I come in. That's the statistics and quoted from the National Bureau of Statistics. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. Now, where do we come in? We come in with events like this, TEDx, events like Open City, Converge, where people come together to think. Because I have known and I have observed over time that creativity is something that you draw out of purpose. Yes, I think I heard the speaker mentioned that you cannot be creative when you don't love what you do. Where is it going to come from, really? I mean, not that I didn't love geology, but I was not driven to do geology. I actually had job opportunities that I said, give me one day, let me just think about it. And I went home and sat down, and I went up to the pros, to the cons, and I knew it wasn't me going to be fully drawn out. I wasn't going to get the best out of me in the job, and so I declined. Now, I declined because I've come into me. Now, that's another point. You've got to love. Creativity and love go together. I've had someone accuse me that I love myself too much, and I say, oh, yes, I do. Because you can't love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you cannot be creative. That's it. If you don't love yourself, you cannot be creative, because at every point you want to stretch the envelope. Every point you want to go that extra mile. Every point you want to break the bank, as the saying goes. You always have this check in me. Can I do it? Will I be able to stand up there? Will I be able to talk? Will I be able to write that proposal? And then you sit down. And really, that's not you. Because if you love yourself, you'll be willing to test yourself. You're willing to try yourself. And so you say, yes, let me try. Maybe I might not be perfect, but at least let me attempt it. And so I write down the proposal, and someone checks it and said, okay, well, page 1, touch this sentence, page 2, this paragraph, but you've done something. Now, that's something I come to know, and so I was willing to do. And so these are some of my mentors, some people that I look at their lives and I'm like, wow, this person not only loves themselves, they are not dependent. They don't look at no one's opinion, but theirs and where they want to be matter. And so they go that extra mile. And really, that's what we need to be. We need to be role models. As creative people, we must be role models. I facilitated the teenage lab or boot camp, as the case may be, and these were 10 teenagers that just finished secondary school, and they were going to university, and we wanted them to let them know the basics of business, so that in entering university, they will start a business. The project was that they should use their skills to start something, and 10 of them, you had the introverts, you had a mixture, and you got to see from their personality. Some of them didn't even understand why they were going to university. Some of them were like, okay, so I have it, I'm gifted. So then there were some that knew from 2, in fact, one of them said, since I was 2, I knew I was going to be a footballer. And I'm like, okay, so what are you going to study? He said engineering. I said, so how are you going to combine the two? And he went on and on. But he said, I would play football in university, but I won't let my studies suffer. So I said, okay, good, you have a plan. So in being creative, you don't shut down, you work with passion, you love yourself, you have a plan, a workable plan, and then you go that extra mile. And you have to be a role model. At every point in time, at least show yourself, okay, this is what I've learned. This is how far I've gone. This is what I can pass on to someone. And because of this, I titled this Fight or Flight for a reason, because I wanted to simplify creativity, as the case may be. It's a nature. This is me loving nature. I couldn't help but put this. Ants, we see them everywhere. Some of us step on them, which is bad. But, except they bite you, but you learn from them. They don't see obstacles. If you put something in front of an ant, it will hit it, and go around it. They are unified, the teamwork is extraordinary, and they have so much to teach us, which is another thing I do. I don't just have humans as my role models. I look at nature, and ants is one of the natural nature that I can think about. Ants, and then you have bees, the next one. That's my cake there. That was my birthday. And why I love bees, Melissa means honeybee, and I think that has played another thing, has added to my creativity, as the case may be, because it's seen me moving, always wanting to produce results, and always wanting to do more than you wear shoes that are bigger than me, But it's really gotten me far, and I'm grateful for that. But you can learn around. We can learn from nature, the trees, and everything. And so the project that I have in mind, which I want to simplify and leave us as I go, let me leave it with you, is the fight or flight. You fight for purpose. You fight for creativity. You fight for your dreams. You fight to be someone of influence, someone of significance. But then, what was flight? What's the flight in it? There's nothing negative. You're going to fly. You're going to take flight into the future that your fight has modeled for you. So you're not going anywhere. Nigeria, as we know it, will remain Nigeria as we see it until we do something about it. And that's why when I see people complaining, like I use the classic example, trash, littering, it pains me to be in a cab and probably the driver drinks a can of Coke and flings it out the window. I say, why? Now you flung it out. Who will pick it? He said the job of the sweepers, that let us make job for them. That if they don't throw things out, no job. I said, what are you talking about? Do you know that the sweepers could come and sweep and pack sand or stones and they'll still have jobs? You should even be thinking about how to create mechanized sweepers so that these ones will have, maybe they wear uniforms and ride the carts and be dignified in labor. And you're throwing out the can. And so I said, okay, if I can tell 2 people every day, please don't litter. This is why you shouldn't. I have not done it for 2 years. And this is where it has brought me. but God is blessing me for it. You know, it's bringing the spiritual aspect. If you do this thing, God will so bless you. Millions will just automatically appear in your account, you know. And they sit up and say, are you serious? You mean, don't glitter, you know, and you say it to one person, and not just saying it. The role modeling is you build a relationship with the person, and it's professional at best. So it's not like I'm telling you and I'm leaving you. I'm telling you and I'm following you up. The coaching, you know, the coaching thing, there must be a signature. So you follow the person up and you leave an imprint. You leave the person believing and being convinced in the values you've laid for the person. And so please don't litter. So you tell 2 people every day, and those 2 people go on to tell 2 people each, and 2 people, and then it becomes a chain reaction that's bigger than you. Now, this might not show up, the results might not show up in a day, it might not show up in 2 weeks, but after 1 year, after 2 years, because what social entrepreneurship does is, as against the non-profits, doesn't look at the small-term benefits, it's long-term objectives. So people's mindsets are changing, and so you have that. So imagine the figures just spiraling out like that, and we're causing change. It could be in any industry, this environment. It could be in health, where the malaria thing, or polio, just pass on knowledge. Because someone somewhere out there needs it, and really, that's why I am here. And so we pass on the message, I'm not the virus, thank you. And everybody's blessed for doing. So, fight or flight. I'm going to end with the words of Peter Drucker, the father and founder of management. He said, perhaps the only way that we can predict the future is to make it. Shikina, thank you.